On a typical day in Hong Kong, the greatest tsunami in recorded history strikes the city, rapidly filling the buildings and saturating the streets. People flee in terror, attempting to shelter somewhere safe, but the water moves more quickly than they can. The majority of Hong Kong's population disappears in a matter of hours, with only those who are able to reach a floor high enough to live. Asha still experiences nightmares about the terror she experienced that day, even after 5 years. But every morning, she swallows her fear and perseveres to live another day. She uses the debris to conceal her belongings from would-be assailants because she lives in a high-rise building that is in ruins. She has been scavenging anything beneficial for the water for years, and she has made hiding places everywhere in the apartment, including a hole under the pillows on the couch. She goes to the roof every morning to retrieve some fresh water from her well-concealed secret supply. She takes a sip of tea and turns on the radio, but she skips the recorded announcement about the government shelter with supplies in favor of music. She takes care to use headphones so as not to create unnecessary noise. The morning dew is then collected by her using a towel, and she adds it to her collection of water bottles. It hasn't rained in a long time, so she can't stop worrying. She also measures each bottle to keep track of how much clean water she has left. After completing her tasks, eating instant noodles, she thinks about the lovely places she used to go to with her friends, where they would always have great cuisine. Asha then keeps an eye on the area with binoculars. The only part of the buildings visible above the water is their tops, and every now and again, those structures would begin to collapse. In addition, she confirms that the few neighbors who are still alive are still residing in their apartment. She bolts to another window, where she has put a homemade harpoon-like contraption that she uses to scavenge when she suddenly spots a box floating in the ocean. She catches the box with a single swift stroke, but as she attempts to draw it in, something in the water tugs it down, causing her to strike the window's edge and injuring her arm. Asha continues to pull against the enigmatic power despite the pain, regaining her balance from the whiplash until the creature eventually releases her grip. As Asha opens the package, the beast lashes out at her, taking revenge with a wave. She finds a bottle of booze in the box, but it is primarily filled with rubbish. As she makes her way back to the roof, Asha looks at the door at the end of the hallway and then moves, obviously unhappy. She cleans her cut on the roof with the alcohol, then covers it and takes a sip to dull the agony. She goes outdoors in the evening upon hearing screaming to see that 2 boats of vicious scavengers have arrived and are attacking the neighbors. Asha hides for a little while before turning to face the man who is observing her building from the other roof. It appears that vessels are heading to her location. In an attempt to make it appear lived in, she dashes downstairs, conceals all of her everyday belongings, covers her mattress, and even scatters dirt across the corridor. Next, she ducks behind a fictitious wall in a closet, ensuring that you remain silent while the scavengers enter the room and start searching everything for food, including the closet. Fortunately, nothing is discovered, but Asha is frightened to hear a gunshot. Just now, a boy mistakenly fired his rifle in response to what appeared to be movement. Asha cries with relief when the company leaves and attempts to soothe herself by thinking back on a pleasant experience. Asha had recently inherited a half-sister, and she took her out to dinner to begin their bonding before the tragedy occurred. When she comes into another package the following day, she is thrilled to discover a jar of honey among all the garbage within. But when she notices a body floating in the river, her pleasant moment is destroyed. A bit later, as Asha is occupied, someone breaks in and begins stealing items from Asha's hidden places. Asha ignores it for the time being since she believes she hears something but cannot see anything. When she hears another noise as she gets ready for bed, she uses her flashlight to check, but once more, nothing is there. After that, she intentionally leaves the soap out and washes her face in an attempt to apprehend the intruder, who turns out to be a young girl. The youngster kicks Asha and flees as Asha reaches out to confront her. Before she can enter the mystery door, she hears Asha approaching and collects a few more items, including her homemade lamp, and heads down the hallway. That evening, Asha remembers telling her best friend that she couldn't wait to get out of her parents' house and going clothing shopping for her sister's birthday. Upon awakening, Asha discovers that a portion of her food hoard has vanished. She proceeds to trace the empty wrappers on the floor and discovers the girl dozing off with the lantern. She lacks the courage to rouse her, so she decides to prepare something instead. Upon her eventual awakening, the girl searches the area for further secret chambers. She is apprehended red-handed after discovering an envelope containing images of Asha and her sister inside a phony store. Asha quickly replaces the photographs in their frames when the youngster flees, not realizing she misplaced one. She then prepares another bowl of noodles and gives it to the youngster, while recalling her sister's birthday supper that evening. Asha was upset when her parents gave her the family necklace because she should have gotten it as the firstborn child. Following a dispute, Asha decided to leave. Returning to the present, it is evident that Asha is currently donning the necklace. Asha leaves the food next to the girl and walks away after she rejects the offer of nourishment. After eating everything, the youngster discovers that Asha also left her a mattress a short while later. It is not used by her. However, she returns everything Asha took the next morning. Asha cooks 2 bowls of noodles for lunch again, setting aside one for the girl to eat on the roof. They laugh and become closer as the toddler quickly follows her around and mimics everything she does. Asha is reminded of the joy of her former life by it. The girl eventually agrees to sleep next to Asha on the other mattress in the evening. She soon begins to cry and attempts to hide it, but Asha reassures her that it's okay to feel terrified and cry. The girl is building a boat to find her mother, so she hopes to see her soon, even though she misses her family. She also says that Hey Hey is her name. Following yet another nightmare-filled night, Hey Hey goes up to the roof with Asha so they may go through the ritual. During Hey Hey's playtime, she takes off the tape Asha had placed on the lock. preventing them from opening the door from the outside in the event that it accidentally closes. Asha is upset, but Hei Hei demonstrates her lock-picking skills right away and opens it once more. Asha finds out later that her necklace is missing when she is preparing a new supper. She looks out the window at that moment, hearing some noises, and sees that the scavengers have returned. Consequently, she requests that Hei Hei keep quiet as they wait for them to depart. The girl invites Asha to go with her after she helps Hei Hei clean up, but Asha says no. She claims that nothing exists outside of this place, which is her home. Asha then inquires as to whether Hei Hei removed her necklace, to which Hei Hei responds that she didn't and leaves the apartment, hurt by Asha's charge. When Asha goes to look for the missing water at her evening meal by herself, she finds that Hei Hei used it to wash. This brings up memories of her fighting with her mother, who wished for her to marry and make a decent wife, after learning about a typhoon that was headed into nearby nation. Asha keeps seeing all the bodies in the sea during that night, and her dreams get worse. She briefly believes Hei Hei to be her sister when she wakes up. Hei Hei interrupts Asha while she is teaching him how to handle the building's energy to inquire about the door at the end of the hallway. Asha tells her to ignore it because if they open that stinky room, the stench will spread across the entire space. Asha can be seen in another memory watching the news as it was announcing how the floods had completely destroyed Singapore. Turning off the TV, her mother informed Asha about the upcoming family gathering, but Asha was unable to attend. Asha informed her family they made her feel like a prisoner when they got into another disagreement, and she left the flat. Now let's go back to the present. Hei Hei is listening to the radio when she hears about the shelter. She immediately runs to Asha and requests to see. Asha declines, citing the dangers of leaving the house. Hei Hei calls Asha irate and resentful after they argue, and exits the room. Asha follows Hei Hei to the other room, where she finds her using rubbish to make a raft and a flare pistol. As soon as Asha takes it from her, she confesses that she tried to leave a while back but had to return due to the terrible circumstances, following their reconciliation. After the argument with her parents, Asha recollects how her sister followed her out of the apartment while pleading with her not to go. Although Asha stated it was time for her to move out, she insisted that they would still spend time together. Asha and Hei Hei dash to the roof to collect a large amount of water, and correctly store it when it eventually starts to rain the following morning. As they labor, Hei Hei observes that Asha's jewelry has fallen. Asha becomes overcome with memories. As she finds the forgotten photo, Hei Hei reassures her that they have each other, thus she feels better. Asha finds her necklace beneath her pillow when she gets in bed, which surprises her because the clasp broke. Asha starts working non-stop the next morning after feeling horrible about how she handled Hei Hei and eventually succeeds in building a raft. Hei Hei becomes ecstatic, and Asha recalls the argument's night once more. People on the street began to run in fear as a massive wave swept across the streets in a matter of seconds, just as her sister was trying to inform her that she had left the necklace in Asha's jacket. Now that we are in the present, Asha chooses to give her necklace to Hei Hei. Later on, the two gather supplies to prepare the raft for departure. Hei Hei's headphones unintentionally disconnect while she's listening to the radio, which makes the music in the room echo loudly. Asha quickly turns it off, but before long, they can hear the scavengers chatter outside. Asha shoves Hei Hei into the opening behind the false closet wall as the pair, terrified, scramble to hide all of their personal belongings as quickly as they can. Asha is going to hide in the musty room because there isn't enough room for the two of them there. As soon as the scavengers break through the window, Asha quickly hides in the foul-smelling room where she discovers her old family photos because this is her former residence. This time, the scavengers begin their search with even greater violence, demolishing anything they come across, including the raft. The stench of the room makes a guy gag, but he persists and pulls off some old sheets, only to discover Asha's parents' bodies, which makes him throw up. As Asha recalls the tragic night, she also passes out at the same moment. Dozens of people were dying every second as the wave destroyed everything in its path. As people began pushing one another for a chance to live, Asha pulled her sister into a building so they could go up the stairs, but soon the throng was chasing after them. The scavengers are stealing all the food and focusing on Asha's photos in the present. The other scavengers assist the youngster in moving the fake wall so they can apprehend Hei Hei after he discovers something strange in the closet. As Asha hears all of this from her hiding place in the foul-smelling room, she is struck by another flashback. The sister fell behind them on the way up the stairs, getting trampled by the oncoming mob. Fearing for her life, Asha ran without realizing her sister was gone until she reached the roof. Asha hears Hei Hei, who is terrified, telling the gang where she is, and the scavengers swiftly locate her and knock her. Asha is restrained as she awakens, and the foreign scavenger tries to take advantage of her, but the leader interrupts him just in time. Hei Hei, and all the provisions are brought to the scavenger's boat shortly after. Asha is soon hauled outside as well, and as she looks at Hei Hei, she is reminded of her sister and realizes she can't make the same error twice. The man yanks back, forcing her to plunge into the water while she yanks at the rope. The man is enraged and tries to drown Asha when she attacks him with a broken CD that is fortunately close by. The guy is shot and killed by Asha when, after some effort, she manages to get to the flare gun in her pocket. When the other scavengers return inside the building after hearing all the commotion, Asha is nowhere to be seen. As the gang divides up to search, a large man hears Asha crying and chases after her. However, this is part of Asha's plan. She will use a rope to make him fall, and then she will beat him to death with a guitar. Next, she grabs his knife and dashes into a different room so the radio may be turned on. Asha swiftly swiftly reacts to the sounds by jumping on the scavenger from behind and stabbing him with a knife. Asha is thrown into a mattress by the guy as he tries to choke her since it is insufficient. Thank goodness she is able to get the knife and begins stabbing him till he is dead. A can with fire inside is discovered by the female scavenger, who then hears a commotion. She is caught off guard by Asha, who douses her in oil and forces her into a different room where she lights her on fire and then gently closes the door to allow the flames consume her. When he reaches the stairs, Asha leaps on him and stabs him, but the leader hears her screaming and moves in that way. A second altercation breaks out, in which Asha is struck a few times by the leader before he tries to choke her. Asha is still struggling as she reaches up to take hold of the light tube. When she beats the guy to death with it, darkness falls. Asha jumps to the roof as soon as the lad appears and starts shooting when she switches on her flashlight. The youngster follows her, and Asha removes the tape and locks the door as soon as he walks outside, trapping the scavenger on the roof. Asha hears the boy's innocent voice pleading for help, and she almost feels sorry for him. Then he starts shooting at the door, so Asha turns to go. On the boat, keeping watch over Hei Hei, is the lone remaining scavenger. Asha approaches the window and attempts to shoot something with her harpoon-like gadget, but she misses, and it lands in the ocean. Hei Hei seizes the opportunity to shove the man off the boat when he moves to investigate the disturbance, but the man grabs her and causes her to fall as well. While the man resurfaces close by and is devoured by the sea creature, a desperate Asha dives into the water to save her. A little period of quiet is followed by the pair's reappearance, safe and sound. They eventually make it to the boat, confident that the provisions the scavengers stole will last them until they locate a place to stay. Asha finally had a nightmare-free night's sleep that night.